Good evening, sir.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to class. All right, good evening, everyone. Let me use it.
Yeah, hello, good evening, Mr. Akin.
Yes, sir. Emmanuel,
Yes,
Glory,
Good evening, Mr.
Jimmy, Jane.
Hey, good evening.
Evening. Welcome to class.
thank you.
Have you guys? Well, maybe one or two persons haven't met me before. Well, the rest of you, we did Linux together, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So has it been so far?
So me, I haven't met you.
Oh, Glory, okay.
Glory, yeah.
Oh, okay. How are you? Meet me someday. Especially usually here.
All right, but I'm happy to be here.
Oh, great. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Yes. Emmanuel, how was your Terraform class?
Of course, it's been insightful, learned a whole lot of stuff. I think over the last 3 months, it's been a really tough one. It's not been easy, but we just have to do what we have to do. So, yeah. But it's great instructors, right from Mr. Obafemi to Mr. Ray. Yeah, very great instructors. They seem to know what they are doing. So, personally, I think they are on top of what they are doing. Yeah. But of course, there's also more, always room for improvement. So, that's what I can say.
Feedback.
Yeah.
Feedback on areas where we can improve. Yeah.
Yeah, so generally, I'm satisfied so far. For me to get to this point, I think it's because I'm satisfied with what I'm getting so far.
Oh,
yeah.
Great. All right, Akimbola and Jimmy, would you say now that you are cloud solutions architect, at least you know the services available in cloud and you can to a large extent automate some of them?
Without a doubt, for an entry level, I think, yes. I believe we always learn on the job as well. So without a doubt, I believe, yes, for an entry level, I should be able to.
Yeah, keyword entry level, yes.
Yeah, because I think I was saying this in the other class. Most of the solution architects roles I'm seeing online, honestly, about 50% of the requirements I see are in DevOps. Yes, and so I believe we'll be able to consolidate on what we've learned so far. After the DevOps class, we should be in a better position to, confidently apply for some of these roles.
That's right. That's right, and you are eloquent about that. Where is there used to be the PMP, the Scrum trainer?
Oh, I think he didn't join us for IAC. If that is not Jimmy, then I believe, I think I know the person you're talking about, but he didn't join us for IAC.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Is Louis. He was talking about Louis. Yeah, he didn't join for IAC, I noticed.
Yeah.
Though I wasn't really live in class for IAC, so.
Okay, so good. All right, guys. So, like Emmanuel observed, this is the real deal. This is the reason many of you actually came into this training in the first place, to be able to understand and apply the tools. Yeah. So it's good that you now have a fairly good foundation to build this DevOps knowledge from. I haven't been through, let me share my screen. Yes, so having been through this let me do this. Okay, I just manage it. The steps of going into cloud and being able to set up infrastructure in cloud, set up your server within your own VPC in cloud, set up a private cloud, and then you have your public subnet and your private subnet working fine in there. Right? You're able to do that at the console level by staying here in cloud to perform all of that. And then, of course, more importantly, you are able to stay outside of cloud and then run your codes here to go into cloud and deploy this infrastructure in what we call infrastructure as code, running that remote. All right, so what we want to do from this point, and then of course, very importantly, you understand your Linux. This is where your Linux will be really useful. So on this server, you have your Linux operating system running as the basis, as the foundation on which all of these codes run. All right, so now you know Linux, now you know infrastructure as code. Like Emmanuel said, at the basic level, entry level, you're able to write simple codes. At this point, you will be working some 40% code, 60% console. And then as you learn on the job and you learn more you will tend more and more towards codes rather than working 100% on GUI or console. And as you move away more from console towards code, your salary, your value goes up. Then you can earn more and more. All right. So for somebody who does not know how to do stuff like this, in other words, no zero about when I say code, I actually mean scripts. All right. Zero of script, but 100% of doing things manually. The chances of getting a job out there are very slim. And for somebody who knows 100% of code and can do without actually going into console to do stuff, then these guys are talking about 400, 350K kind of jobs. And then at your level where you know, like we said, maybe 60% of your job you are doing there, 40% you're able to at least do from here when it becomes necessary to do so. And we're talking about 100 to 150K kind of job. Minimum 100. All right, so this is where we're coming from. This is the background that we have. This is what we've spent the last 3 months learning. So let us build on top of this. Let us build on top of this. So what we're going to learn here in DevOps is so now let's zoom out a little and see a bigger picture that we have shown earlier. So right now we have on this side, we have the owner of the idea, the sponsors, and then you have this guy who understands everything, the business objective, and is able to decode that into something that somebody else understands, or maybe 2 persons. And then there's this person as well. And then there is this place. And then there is person 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth, scattered around the globe. And they are all making contributions to a central place. What have I drawn here? So these guys are programmers. Programmer 1, Programmer 2, Programmer 3, Programmer 4, Programmer 17, Programmer 18, all working together on this project. What is the project? The idea that is coming from here that, for example, I want to build a solution for, let's use an existing application, a taxi solution. So I want to build Uber or another Uber. All right. So that idea comes up, and then this man is a businessman. He has access to funds, he has access to, all right, maybe it's even a company. And then he engages this guy to translate this business objective into technical language that these people will understand. From this point on, we're talking technical. All right. So at some point in this workflow, these guys are involved. You recruit people depending on what SDK, what programming language you are. Of course, this is not one man's decision to make. So there is the business owner, there is the idea, there's the business analyst who would take the business idea and convert it to technical terms that the project manager, if it's at the level of project or product owner, would relate with and be able to break that down into stuff that, if we are now using agile methodology, you know what I mean by agile compared to waterfall, and what is often the case, that is what we use. And then there's a Scrum Master who will break that down and save them in a transparent place where the coders, the programmers, but generally now called developers, can take those lines and convert them, ultimately converting this idea to codes. To code. It is at the point of converting the ideas to codes, backlog, that's what this is, that the technical job starts, the technical work starts. All right. So even though these guys are part of the IT team, they are in IT as well, just like the technical guys are, the real technical job starts from there. This is why some of you guys are coming from project management background, from background, from business analyst background, and so on and so forth, wanting to have a piece of, okay, what actually goes on beyond this door when we begin to write codes, and these codes ultimately converts to the application that this guy had dreamed of. This application that I dreamed of would ultimately become a reality here. And then it will be hosted. Where else would it be hosted? No. It will be hosted in cloud based on the advantages of cloud. That will be hosted there. And then from this cloud place, it is now accessible to everyone. There are thousands, and there are millions, and there are billions, everyone in the world, through their mobile devices, through their computers, through their all other kinds of devices that are connected to the internet. All right. So as we move into the technical part of this project, and then these programmers write the codes as broken down to fit the agile methodology by the Scrum Master, who further takes further directives from the guys behind. These codes are not the application. This is the application. The codes are just the raw form of the application, the raw state. Meanwhile, this is the finished state, the finished product. You as the DevOps engineer, this is your place. You are involved in converting the raw state of the application, which is in code form, to what? To the finished state. And then not just that, with your knowledge of cloud solutions architecting, you are now able to go into cloud and actually this concept of going into cloud, taking that into cloud is called deployment. You are natural, and then the concept of taking application into cloud is called deployment. The concept of setting up these servers and other network resources that the servers would need to make to host the app and make the app available. The setting up of those servers in cloud is called provisioning. So we provision infrastructure, but we deploy applications. In other words, we provision hardware, virtual, they are not hardware in their state. So we provision what we normally would call hardware, but now called infrastructure, and then we deploy what we normally would call software, but generally called application provision. All right, so because of your current knowledge of cloud, you are able to do this too. No, you're actually able to do provisioning. So what you'll be learning now is this server that you have provisioned, how do you now take these codes, build the code into application, so to speak, and then test the code, and then deploy the code into. So this is what we are learning. This is what we call this area of this technical workflow. This area is called development, like you see here. So developers for development, development. And this area of the workflow, once you get into cloud, is called operations. All right. So as a DevOps person, you have two arms stretched. One is taking care of the developers and one is taking care of operations. All right. So you intercede between development and operations. This is similar to this in real life being refinery, and all of these guys being consumers, your airplanes, your automobiles, your generators, all of the consumers. So for your refined crude oil here, this is your crude oil, I mean raw state of the petroleum product. For that to be available, what do? You set up a pipeline from here all the way from Kaduna or from Texas or from one part of Texas to the refinery. And then as they are drilling the crude is going in there and is flowing through there into refinery where it is processed and then made available to the public. All right. Now, in DevOps, this pipe is also called pipe. In fact, it's called pipeline. I mean, this is similar to power. But this kind of pipeline is not called transmission pipeline or anything else other than CI/CD pipeline. What does CI/CD mean? CI/CD, okay, another term like you would know, the part of this job that the development people do is called continuous integration. And the part of taking it from that point and deploying it into operations is called continuous deployment, technically speaking. So that is where the CI/CD comes from, meaning you are merging development with operation. You are filling in the gap. Otherwise, these guys will just drill oil, and there is no way to get the crude oil to the refinery for processing. Just like these guys will write the code, and there will be no way to take that code and deploy the code to operations. And therefore, these guys will not have access to the code. So your place here, what we are here to learn is how to take these codes and build the code and then deploy the result. The resultant actually called artifact at this level, so that I don't mix it up with this. It's called application here. It's called Artifactory. Bear with me. This is it. The bandwidth is just it's not enough. Okay. So yeah, this is the overview of what we'll be learning. All right. So before we go further, any question so far? Idea of this?
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
So with this, you don't need a prior knowledge of Linux or anything else that you probably mentioned before that I probably didn't remember, right? Or everything is just from scratch?
You said with this, do we need prior knowledge of Linux?
Yes.
Yes, we do, definitely. Very, very important. Can you see the diagram? Let me show you the place of Linux. So you will be here as a DevOps person. And then you'll be working from a computer that is remote, outside of cloud and outside of development. And this computer will be able to take care of everything from here all the way there. So to be connected to dev on one part and connected to operation on one part. All right. So this machine, you are likely to be running from your laptop, either fully or partially. So you would be needing a number of tools to build this, to test, to deploy, to understand, first of all, what is happening there, and then to participate actively. These tools will be running from this machine. For any machine to run, the machine needs to have an operating system, especially when it is a machine like this that would ultimately be part of that network. So the operating system that this machine would be running would be Linux operating system. It is on this Linux now that you now run the tools for building. You run your Maven, you run your Jenkins, you run your Docker, you run your Ansible, and so on and so forth. All of these tools will be learning. So yes, Linux is very important. You need Linux to be able to all of them. So you are sitting here, and then you are managing this entire system, all the way from here, like I said, here, on a Linux machine. This is a Linux machine. So you do need Linux. In fact, you need to be very good. Well, I mean, you need a very good foundation.
But I mean, the reason I was asking is because I've never taken Linux before. I mean, I just yeah. I don't know if I'm in the I've never taken Linux before.
You're in the right place, right? Okay, so let's quickly who is that? Sorry.
It's Jean.
Oh, John. Okay. So you are supposed to be joining fresh for DevOps. So our DevOps course is made up of 5 courses, 5 subjects. So the first subject is, let me start from the bottom, Linux. So you do Linux. On top of Linux, you go into cloud and learn AWS. On top of that, you learn infrastructure as code. All right. So your colleagues here, they've already gone through these 3 subjects. So they are here now for DevOps1, DevOps1 and DevOps2 is just my differentiation. It's actually called DevOps. They are not separate. Just my own way of separating DevOps2. So without these 3 foundational courses, it's going to be hard to.
Okay.
So we have another class, Linux class, that we started. In fact, we just had introduction yesterday. So it's starting proper next week, Monday. All right.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, that will be the right class for you.
Yeah, I don't mind, sir.
Yeah, at $600 per month, $600 second month, $600 third month. But by the time you come into the big courses, it will be a bit more expensive. Because
okay. Yeah, I don't mind starting with Linux, sir. It's not a problem.
Yes. All right, that's fine. So yes, if you do me, if you like, you can be part of this just to get an overview. Otherwise, feel free to.
Okay, I'll just reach out to you later on today. I mean, later,
Yes.
probably tomorrow.
Okay, and then I'll add it to the protocol.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right, any other person fall in that category? Glory, what about you?
I'm good, Mr. Akin. I was in the AIC or IAC class.
Oh,
I had my solutions back in 2020, and I presently work using Linux and Windows.
Awesome. Oh. All right, beautiful. Now let's so yeah, did you get the overview of at a very high level at interview? I mean, this is what the interviewer expects you before you even start the interview at all. He expects that you know your place and why you are being interviewed, what you are being interviewed, the role you are being interviewed. All right, so that's the high level. If there are no questions, we can go on to build on that. All right. Questions? So, all right, so what is DevOps? I do actually have a DevOps note here. DevOps, what did I call DevOps? Yeah. So, yeah, so the note talks about the prerequisites we just talked about. So we already know Linux, AWS, and then, okay, so. Okay. So the life cycle, the DevOps life cycle, in other words, the steps that you will need to go through to say, yes, we are practicing DevOps. So the model of software development these days is more commonly called application development rather than software development. Started with this model called waterfall model. And then from waterfall model, we move to agile model. And what's the difference? This basically means that in software development, you needed to know everything from the beginning to the end and build a full software as one piece. So tell me what you want, I go, I make it for you, and that is it. There'll be no room for, oh, I forgot to add this. No. It's just like you are building a house. You're building a house, you get your drawing right, and we build the house according to the drawing. You cannot come back and say, because even from the foundation level, everything is already made according to what it will ultimately be. So coming back to say, I want to change this might mean changing something at the foundation, and that will be too late. But don't worry so much about that. Life really starts at agility. So agile means when you are building a project, you're building an application following the agile methodology, it means that you are not building the whole house or the whole project at once. Even though you understand that you are ultimately going to build this kind of project. But your approach is, you know what, let's just build this first phase that we need to start a basic, basic operation. So you build that first part, and then it is good, just like we are learning in iterations now. You build this first part, it is good. I mean, your developers build this. Maybe you give them like 2 weeks to say, let us focus on only the first module of this entire project. And then that is good. The software is able to capture users' name, I mean, basic information. And then, and then it's able to store it to the database. Oh, this is good, beautiful. And then you now say, the next thing we want to do now is make it possible for everyone who, every record in the database to be authenticated appropriately. So you build that other module on top of the first. And then once that is done, you build another module. So you are building stuff module by module. So you don't understand the big picture. Yeah, you have an overview, you have an understanding actually, but you are not building the big picture from scratch. Instead of waiting 3 years to complete this project, you're actually running the modules of the project every week, every 2 weeks, or every 4 weeks in sprints, like the agile people. It's a different technology we call it, right? Usually 2 weeks. So you build iteratively. So that is the major difference. And this is concerned with the development of the software. So agile methodology simply means that we are not building the entire software at once and releasing it to the market. No, we are building the software in iterations. And every time we build something new on top of the old and we have something new, yeah, I mean, it's up to us whether we release it to the market or not, but we are building. If in the event that something happens and this software begins to malfunction, you can actually isolate the part that is malfunctioning, go and fix it, and then bring it back here, and the entire software will be working again. Unlike this, if any part is not working, then the entire building will go down, right? You can liken that to your car. So your entire car is not likely to go down at once. If it's just one part of the engine or one part of the body, just take that part out and replace it, and your car is good again. Imagine that your car was just one module. When something happens to it, then you throw away the entire car. That would be waterfall model of building. Or the fact that you have separated the car into different parts. Even if they say the engine is bad, it's just one part of the engine. Something, we may generally call everything in the whole engine, but one part of the entire component is bad. Replace it and you are up. So that is agile methodology. And this is what is commonly used in software. In fact, that is what is used. Yes, in the background, if you look deep, you might see that, oh, even though it is agile in the foreground, it's actually waterfall in the background, but this is what it is. And that is why you see in job description, when they are looking for DevOps people, they would normally mention that this person should be familiar with agile methodology and how things work within that. Yes, questions? Somebody raise hand. Hello, guys. Are you still there?
Yes,
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I thought I saw a hand raised. That was in my imagination. All right. So these are different models for, generally speaking, software development or like I'll be calling it most of the time. So we'll call this software development. Okay, now this agile methodology is related to the development of the software. All right. So like we said earlier on, you have your developer 7, and they are all developing from their respective laptop. All right. So whatever they are doing must be contributed to a central place. Otherwise, they are not working for the company then, they are working for themselves. If all they do is retain on their personal machine. But at the end of the day, they must upload whatever they have done to this code place. This code place, usually when you have a storage place for anything software, we call that place repository. Repository. So this is code repository. And there are tools that are already available out there, already configured to be your code repository. I think I'm going to find. Let me come back to, this is DevOps proper. Let's come back to it. But what I wanted to draw from here was that after you make after you build your code as defined and as guided by the content of the backlog, as directed following the agile methodology, the person who makes sure that you are not just building codes, you are building codes following this method, this methodology, following this concept, is the Scrum Master. So the Scrum Master defines and ensures that we are developing codes according to this concept. All right. So he comes to say, okay, now the next thing we want to do this week is this number 2. This was the priority. You did that last week. Based on my discussion with the project manager or the product owner. This is actually still not a product. Maybe it's just the project at all. This is the next thing we should do now. All right. All right, guys, well done. That was good. This time we are doing this, we are doing this. So everybody gets a piece of the job. This is what you'll be doing. And then you'll be doing part 2, verse 8. And then everybody will work and then they'll put here again. And then another person will pull the codes from here, there. The DevOps guy will pull the code from here, convert them to Artifact, and then deploy to cloud as app. And then it goes live, we're able to see. And then we'll say, oh, this is beautiful. Wow, this is good. We needed to change the sign from yellow to blue and change the money sign to dollar. It's beautiful. Now everybody's working. However, there is still something that we need to change. It's still not okay. So you get that customer's feedback, and that comes back to this non-technical department. And then they see it, and then they say, okay, I get what you mean. And they put that feedback depending on how urgent. And then it comes back here for the developers to pick again and say, oh, what we did last time, even though it was okay, we need to improve. And then it just keeps. That's why we always use the term continuous, whatever we say, continuous deployment, continuous delivery, continuous integration. It's always continuous because feedback is always going back to these developers to say, this, though it's working fine, can be improved on. This is not even working. So that's where the term continuous comes from. All right, now, the reason I'm drawing this is to let you know that the concept of agility, the concept of working in agile environment, starts here and ends here. This is agile, right? It's about the development of the software. Once the software is ready, once the codes are ready from the individual contribution, agility has completed this place. So the agile methodology is only related to the software development life cycle. But what happens the entire job is not completed yet. Look at all of this. What happens here? So on top of this agile methodology of software development, we must have something that will take the software, the code, as often, as fast as at the same velocity as it is being developed and changed here. So that part is DevOps. So that is why DevOps would always work with this agile methodology of software development to do what? To complete the job of deploying the resultant application into operation. If it's not in operations, then what are you doing the job for? It's useless if it doesn't get to the customer. It has to be in operation. All right, now I need to make sure you understand everything we talked about so far. If you do, then you're on the verge of passing the first screening interview where they ask you, oh, I saw your resume. Apparently, you got what you're looking for. Can you quickly tell me on a high level what your experience in DevOps? This is what you'll be explaining. All right. So let's see how much you learn. First of all, I'll let you ask questions and then I'll ask you questions. Only based on what we've learned so far. Walefo, we have another Ishan guy in class today. Or Benin. Walefo, are you there?
I'm here. It's from Uromi.
Oh, what are you?
Offer one. It's not working.
It is an over now. My boy.
Okay. I could be Maluwe now.
I could be now. Okay. All right. So who will go? Sylvia. What's the place of Hey, Sylvia, welcome to class. All right. So what's the place of the Scrum Master in software development and deployment of that software to operation? I know that's not your work. I'm not going to ask you that, but I just wanted to start from.
Okay. Let me apologize in advance if I don't sound too technical. Okay, so I would say the Scrum Master, after getting the requirements and all from, say, the project manager, right? So he has an idea what needs to be, should I say, built, right? In terms of what delivery is expected. So he has a couple of developers who creates the codes and deposits it into the repository, which is like a general, should I say, storage facility based on all the codes that have been developed from different developers, right? So from the repository now, I think this is where DevOps now comes in. After
did you do introduction to DevOps earlier on?
What, earlier on today? Or
I mean, with any trainer, any of the other trainers?
Not really.
Say I have a little bit of project management and Scrum drama.
Okay. No wonder, it's obvious. Okay, cool. All right, so who can take it from there?
Okay, so maybe I can chip in a bit.
All right.
Yeah, so I think mainly the Scrum Master interfaces between the product owner and then the development team. And so his is to ensure that Scrum is, well established in the organization, in the sense that he helps the development team to be able to, understand what the users actually need, to be able to transform what they call it, the product backlog items into code, which eventually will be used by the DevOps team. So I think on a high level, that's what the Scrum Master does, mainly interfacing between the product owner and then the development team, converting product backlog items into codes, for development.
Awesome. Great. Cool. All right. Thank you. So who will take it from there? From that point of codes being ready now? Okay. Yeah, we can stop there. Okay, yes. Anybody? I didn't want to put so
after the codes have been developed based on the requirements of the Scrum team and probably the product team, the DevOps engineer serves as the bridge or the pipeline between that development team and the operations team. And operations team is basically where the application will be deployed. So the DevOps engineer would help to build. Building in this case meaning to test the codes, build and test the codes that have been developed by the development team, and then deploy it in the cloud environment, the operations cloud environment, similar to, I like the example of refinery that you gave. And then from here, the end user can access the application and then put it to use. If there is some feedback from the end users about the functionality of the application that is being deployed, there's a feedback mechanism that goes back to the development team. They do iteration to the codes and make changes based on user specifications or customer specification. The codes again is passed over to the DevOps engineer, the build, test, and deploy again. And yeah.
Wow. Well, I know this thing now. Let me break my head. So that is where you just explained.
Mr. Akin, the only thing I wanted to say is that you are such a good teacher that I have missed you. So I'm glad that you're back. No, I'm being honest though, not just saying it. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it's good to know. Yeah. All right. So what you just explained, that's why we have this infinity sign for DevOps. So it goes back and then feedback comes back to the development team, and then they look at just like you explained it, and then they make, so it keeps going up and then infinity, it never stops.
Yes, yeah, Mr. Ake, and so that is one of the reasons why I'm finding it difficult to understand or to believe that Agile ends at the code level, because even in some organizations, after the DevOps, my understanding is that sometimes they have an internal customer, so before even to deploy it, for it to become an app and accessed by the wider population outside, they have somebody inside who serves as a customer, or a team within the organization that serves as a customer. And so theirs is to test, use the app as the world will use it, and then give the feedback, and then it goes back into the loop again. So I mean, I want to believe that Agile really does not end immediately the code is moved to the DevOps stage. I believe it goes all the way to even the end.
Okay, so operations here, right? All the way to
Exactly. Okay. Because Agile is more of a mindset. It's not really mechanical stuff. It's more of a mindset. And so once the people within the DevOps team and have that mindset that whatever we do is not really the final,
Emmanuel, are you sure you're not part of those people on Twitter that were arguing about the whole fact that Agile is a much more better approach in terms of development like this compared to waterfall? Because there was a situation on Twitter some time back.
Oh yeah, well, the truth is I'm an Agile professional.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I understand and I subscribe to that, argument that
Yeah,
agile
it's
is,
not, yeah.
because I mean the world is changing every second. What you want today, tomorrow you may not want the same thing. You want something new. And so we should have a mindset that should be,
Agile.
accepting exactly. We should be open-minded and then be willing to take up new changes. And so I believe agile is way better, sure.
Okay. Yeah, nice contributions. Good, 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 good. This is interesting. I hope we continue like this so that the class will really be interesting throughout.
Yeah, Mr. Akin, we're just starting now. We don't know how much we're gonna get.
No, we can make it interesting. Yeah, yeah. So thank you, Emmanuel. Yes, I agree with your contribution. Maybe it was just me not putting it right. So what I meant was that the term agile, even though it's a continuous process like this is the part that where agile takes place. It never really stops. It's always continuous. Everything is continuous. But from this point onwards, we don't describe what happens here in terms of the model of the software development. The software development happens at the CI. So we talk about agile here, within here. But once it goes beyond software development to actually now deploying the resultant application in cloud, that is where we no longer describe the agility that happens there as agile. We now describe it as DevOps. So DevOps actually is the term that we use after the software development has taken place. Sure. So maybe this note will help them. So what is DevOps? I mean, many ways to define it. One as the culture and this, but there's a place here where I say, let me see. That one. Okay. So, not exactly. So, full scope from agile. So, where agile ends now. So, agile is continuing on this path. It's not like it just stopped work completely. DevOps will now build the CD part on top of the CI. Don't worry, it will make more sense. It will make more sense. But I got your point. So there is the CI part, which is about the development part. And then there is the CD part, which is continuous delivery or continuous deployment, which is about the deployment of the application here. But when the CI and CD work together, we now have DevOps. So from here to here is Agile, but from here to here is DevOps. So for DevOps to continue, Agile also would have to continue. This is continue. It continues this, continues that. All right, so yeah, good understanding so far. Was I explaining something? No, I was just listening to your contribution. Yes, so far so good. All right, let's see. Yes, I was going to talk about the different stages. So let's look at that. Instead of drawing it afresh, and just look at it. So there is the stage in this whole life cycle where we need the plan is actually more for the PM people, for people like Emmanuel. They do the planning, the Scrum Master, the business analyst, the project owner, and all of that. It is from that planning now that they draw the backlog that you talk about, and that is where we write the codes from. I mean, when I say we, I mean all of us members of this team, even though it's specifically the developer's job, but it's a cross-functional team. So we write the code based on the plan that was drawn there. And then after we write the code, the next thing that happens in the development part it is within this development part that we are talking about, agility. Then we build the code. And then once we build the code, we test the code. After testing the code, if there is, like he said, there is always continuous testing. Glory, you keep going out and coming in. Is it your internet? Are you in Nigeria? All right. So we test the code. If at this point of testing the code, there is something not quite right, different from the original plan that we had, then the code will keep settling like it will keep going. You see the circle? You keep coming. It will go back to plan to say, what did we do wrong? Okay, oh, we did not consider the fact that people will not work at this time. Oh, okay, let us correct the plan. Based on the corrected plan, a new code is written, and then we build the new code, and then we test the result, the result of the build. Because in this case, you could have like 5,000 lines of code, but after you build all of those lines of code, you have only one output, and then you test that result, which is similar to being an API. If it's still not what you want, if it's still not, then it keeps going, continuously.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused a little bit. Fine,
Okay.
we plan and then the code is written.
Yeah, the code, the developers will write the code based on the plan from, like you said, and then we build.
It's still the developers that build the code?
Yes, at this level, the kind of build now is not, yes, you could say that the developers build here.
It's actually the developers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because we said earlier on that DevOps take the code and then build it. Now we are saying the developers build. Okay. Confusing. I know where confusion is coming from. No, it's not the developer. Just I know you have your own conceptions already about this thing, but just pardon me, just permit me to. So there are two. At this level of build, let's just say the developer, because we have not really started the course, so let me not just go too deep. At this level of build, let us assume the developer. Okay. If the confusion is, you already said, I'll show you another level of build where I actually meant the DevOps person. So for now, because we are still within the development, we have not even come outside of the development there. So this is the developer. And then the developer will test. If it does not meet the requirement, it will go over and over. Then when it does meet the requirement, ultimately, so we're not going beyond developer, right? Okay. So DevOps is coming in now. So it will be released. Released to where? Released to deployment. Where are things deployed? Where are applications deployed? Typically cloud, but don't worry about it. So to be released, that release is what we call, when it is released, then it is now available. The application is now available for deployment. And once it is taken from the release and deployed to an EC2 or your VPC in cloud, then it becomes available for users, for customers to use, because we built it for them. So that is operation. So once you deploy, it becomes available. Then they begin to operate it. And then once it is being operated, then, like you said, customers, clients, whoever these people are that are operating, they will come back with feedback. And then you also, the team, the DevOps team and part would also have checks in place to monitor the application that is running in operations now. You don't just deploy and say, I'm done. No. So apart from customers giving their feedback, you'd also have monitoring tools in place to check how much resources is the application using. Where do people go? When is the peak time that this application is used? How many times does this application fail per minute? And so on and so forth. These other metadata about the applications that you not necessarily get from customers, you'd also get it from your monitoring tools. So all of the feedback from monitoring tools, from customers, from in-house testers, everything will now go back to planning, and then would modify the codes to reflect these changes. We build a new application, test it again, so it just keeps doing it. That's the infinite, made up of the development and the operation. So as for the development, this continuity is managed by agility and agile, and then once it goes into operations, then the DevOps person. All right. So a DevOps engineer is responsible for designing and all of that. But beyond all of the design, in fact, let me take this. Let me give this Control-C.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question, please. Do we write code as DevOps engineers?
No.
So we don't need to learn any code language.
No, you don't need to learn any code language.
Okay.
You don't need to. If you do have it, oh, beautiful, but you don't need to.
Okay.
Now,
so when
I have this thing.
Sorry,
Yes.
just a follow-up. So when we see an error, we just push it back to the developers to.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly so.
Thank you.
When you see an error, through those feedback, you just tell the developer. Basically you tell the developers, where this is the error. I tested with this tool and this is the result I'm getting. Please fix it. And then it will never go past that level until the developers fix the error. That's when it can go.
Thank you.
So, yeah. Now, like we're saying, what made me bring this? So as a DevOps person, there is a tool for this, all right? So I'm sure that the PM guys use Jira, and these days, if you are doing it the other way, you could also use Azure board. And then for coding, the developers, this is where the developers will learn their own coding tools. So like you were asking me, do we need to learn any software development kit like Python, PHP, .NET? No, we don't need to. This department, this coders will take it up. And then build. The building that is happening here is still within the development. Therefore, this build, even before they release their codes to that central place where I, as the DevOps person, can now pick it, they need to do a mini test within their own system. All right. So they build and test within their system. And then once it passes within their own system, then the development part for that specific module, that specific tiny part of a whole project that might take 1 billion minutes would be set, and then they will now release it. Once they release it, it's now up to me as a DevOps person to take that release and deploy it to operations. When I deploy it to operations, then this is operations in place. And then the normal thing would be, oh, I finished the work, is in operations. No, I have not finished. I need to plant monitoring tools. And then through the monitoring tools and feedback from the users in operation, I'll get feedback that may necessitate adjusting the plans that I had earlier on, because I've seen that what is actually happening in operations, in market, is not like you mentioned. Things are dynamic, they keep changing. Oh, sorry. As at this time, I didn't know that AI was coming to take over the world and did not make prepared. Now that this is the new trend, I changed my plans and then changed code. So it just keeps going. That's why you never stop. So this is the DevOps. And meanwhile, this part is the software development. Software development or developer. Otherwise, we'll call this part the CI, continuous integration part, and then we'll call this part the continuous delivery part. So it is the DevOps person that joins the agile part of the project. I'm still trying to explain that difference between and the delivery part of the project. Now, we'll be learning different tools. We'll be learning different tools. Apart from planning, which is really not the developer's job, and then even coding. We'll be learning, at least we'll do an overview of the tools used for coding, and then we'll learn tools used for building, and then we are going to build. We'll learn as part of building, testing, and then we'll see how the project and the application, the codes actually, at this level we're talking about code, how the codes are tested, and then we'll learn tools that we use to release the code. And then we'll learn tools for deployment. We'll learn tools that we use to manage the code in operation, application. When it's here, it's called code, but when it's here, it's called application. Because by the time you are releasing it, we would have successfully converted from code to app before we deploy. Code on this part and then monitor. So in DevOps, what we'll be learning would be different, at least 15 different kinds of tools and services that will help us at every stage of this DevOps. All right. Questions? Or did I confuse you further? So for continuous versioning, we're going to learn these tools, Git, and then we're going to use GitHub. I'll tell you what they mean. For continuous build, we'll be building Java projects. Mainly, although I'm also trying to introduce other kinds of projects like Node.js, but for now, we're building Java projects. And the build tool that we'll learn to build the Java codes from developers is Maven. For continuous integration and release, we are going to use Jenkins. We are going to learn. There are other tools, but we are just picking one in each case. We use Jenkins. For containerization and container orchestration, for containerization, we're using Docker, which is every tool we're choosing here is the most popular in the market. Because that's what employers are looking for. And then for container orchestration, we're using Kubernetes. All right. So at the end of this course, of course, for infrastructure provisioning, you already learned Terraform. Terraform is great for that. But for configuration management, after you have provisioned your infrastructure, how do you now manage that infrastructure to accept and deploy your application? We'll be using Ansible. And then for scripting, even though we said you do not need to learn software development kit or any programming language because you are not a coder, we should learn the tool that we need to generate scripts, the script that we also use as DevOps to automate systems. They are not codes, even though you can loosely call them codes. In other words, the reason they are not codes is because you don't need to learn software development like PHP, like Python, like Node.js, and so on and so forth. However, there are tools that can help us generate the kind of script that we need for automation. So for that one, we are going to learn where to get those scripts from, copy, paste, and modify declarative scripts to automate our pipeline. And then for monitoring, we are going to learn, not actually the tools, we are going to learn how to install and configure so that the people who will be using the tools, because they'll be lower cadre people, would have the tools to use. These monitoring tools called Prometheus and Grafana, all right, amongst the other possible monitoring tools. By the end of DevOps, you would be good in the installation, configuration, and management of all of these tools. All right, questions? Somebody should remind me for us to have a short break. Okay. 20 minutes. What else is there? Okay, I believe everyone. All right, so this is the next thing we're going to do now. We're going to make it. All right, so we have these developers. This is one developer. All right, so developer one would be working from a laptop. Developer one, from the system, then he's sitting here. And then there is this place that we call the central place. So it's the repo. So to start his job, he would pull, for the day, for today, to start his job, he will pull the existing repo from here. He will pull. And then when he's done with modifying the code, maybe the last code pushed there by somebody on Eastern time zone, for example, maybe somebody working from China, and then this guy is logging in from the US, so he pulls the last set of codes by the person who is sleeping now, and then he works on it, and then he develops maybe additional codes. And then when he's done, what does he do? He pushes the new code to the repo, so that this repo is now updated with the new code. All right? When this happens, this repo does not delete the old code. So this was the version 1 of the code. And with this addition to the version 1, we now have version 2 of the code. So this version 1 is not replaced, it's not deleted, it's saved. Even when another developer logs in from a different part of the world, for example, and then pulls this code, he pulls this version 2 code, and then what he has now is version 2 plus his own set of codes. So that will now have this new code. The version 1 code that was saved, version 2 code that was saved, and now the version 3 code does not replace them. Version 3 is saved. So every version of the code, every time a different version of the code comes up, maybe because somebody adds a dot or a comma somewhere, and the code is modified, it is saved, the old version is saved, and the new one is also saved. So for that reason, this system is called version control system. So even if you come to this reservoir of codes, in 3 years' time, to say, at also time in the past, what was the version of code that was existing? It will show you. It will show you. It's always saving the version. Just in case you want to revert back to the old code in production, it is saved here for you. And then once this guy is done editing, he pushes back. All right, guys. So the tool that allows the developers to pull and then modify and then push code. That tool is called JIT. We are going to learn JIT. We are going to install JIT and make it possible for us to be able to work with code. And this central place, this storage, like you guys put it, where the codes are stored in cloud so that it is centrally available to everyone, every team member. It can be made available to everyone. It's called, like we already know, the central repo or remote repo, more often called remote repository. Just use repo for repository. And then there are different tools. There are different remote repositories. The one we are going to use in this project, in all of our projects, is about the most popular of them, Git what? GitHub. Git. We also have others that we have used in the past, like Bitbucket. We have used this too. Then there's also GitLab. And as a matter of fact, you can create your own S3 bucket and make it your remote repo. Are you still following?
Yes.
All right. So JIT is the first tool. What is JIT? It's a version control system. So it will allow you to work on your codes locally. So for that reason, because you are going to have your own, the latest version of code available, latest as at the time you pulled it on your own system. So JIT is going to be responsible for the local repo, compared to the central repo, to the remote repo that has the contributions from all of the developers. You also have your own local repo. So for that reason, this is called distributed repo. Distributed in the sense that one, there is a central one, and then two, there are other versions that are scattered around all of the developers' systems. So in the event that this one goes down, then the pieces of the codes are scattered around, and once everybody pushes, you are still able to, which is distributed. Distributed system of version control. All right. So if we call that developer one, we can actually also call this one could be you, or developer two, and so on and so forth. Just a matter of copying and pasting. And then of course we can have you here. As a DevOps. All right, so you are also able to pull and push, just like the developers can do. So here, we are going to set up on our own laptop. We already have Linux running. We already have Linux. And then on top of our Linux, we are going to set up IDE, like we already did with Terraform. Integrated development environment. Yes, this is where you will need it. You need all of the tools in one place. You need them integrated in just one place. So you're not only scatter to pick this. You have an environment where you can deploy all of it. So we're going to use, of course, we have options, but the one that we are using is, which you already know, is VS Code. Use that in to deploy your Terraform. So we'll continue to use our VS Code. There are other options, but so on top of our Linux, we have our VS Code. So the first tool we are going to install operating from our VS Code is going to be Git. And you already know why we're installing Git and what Git is. Another way In fact, a better way to explain JIT would be that JIT is our tool for managing codes. The codes here. What we have here is code. So JIT will enable us to manage codes. It's the tool that we need, all right, to communicate with this, to manage things inside here, to manage things inside the local one and the remote one. It is this tool that we need. So the first thing we'll do now is set up this JIT hub, our remote repository, so that we can all connect, although in this case, we are going to set up individually so that you have a full control. I mean, you have full control and you're able to do stuff. Nobody will challenge you to say, why did you do this? So you set up your own remote repository using GitHub, and then you set up JIT on your local system, and then you try to connect your local system through, this you here, your local system through your VS Code. So, all right, if you understand that explanation, let's go set up. Anybody had issues setting up a GitHub account? I can help you. Did you all set up GitHub account successfully?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody, wow, that's cool. All right, so in my own case, I already have a GitHub account, so I'm just going to log in.
Mr. Akin, the free one is okay, right?
Yeah,
For
yeah.
what you needed.
Okay, yeah. Very much okay. I use the free one. All right, so can you see my screen? My GitHub screen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to say sign in, and then the ITern password, sign in, and here I am. It's my GitHub. All right, so my central repository is ready. This is the place where we have codes, where you'll be, in my own case, where I'll be pushing codes. Then I already have some codes, so you're going to learn all. All right, so that is fine. In your case, you don't have codes. I'm going to show you how to get your first set of codes. So let's go back to our system and set up our own system for use with GitHub. Then what are we going to do in order to make that possible? We are going to install Git. All right, so we'll go to our system. Our IDE is VS Code. This is our VS Code. This is our VS Code. You see, have your Ubuntu running on your VS Code?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, so let's start. So let me set up a directory for your work. Let me quickly go to 2020. DevOps. What's this February? Let's call it February. Let me create a directory where we'll be working from for your class. I will call it folder. Let's call it February. Okay, we'll be working from it. Okay. So now that I've created that directory, let me go back to my VS Code, that folder, and then I'll go to File, and I'll say Open Folder. Which folder? The one I just created. Where did I create it? And then we'll call it February. All right, so I'll select. So that folder is open here now. So everything we are doing will be from inside this folder. Please remind me, write that down, so that every time we come to your class, we'll work on it. All right, so we're ready. Or maybe not quite. I need my terminal to be able to issue my command. Where's my terminal? So I go to terminal and I say new terminal. This is my new terminal. It's presenting me with a PowerShell. I'm not here to issue commands in PowerShell. I'm here to issue Linux. So I look for my already installed Linux and I see Ubuntu. That's my favorite. All right. Are you able to get here? Able to do everything that got me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so.
Sorry, you sure you want us to follow along or we just listen?
Not necessarily. If you can watch, understand, then ask questions and then practice later.
Okay.
How did you put your terminal on the right? Just curious. Mine is on the bottom.
I can move it around, but I just prefer to have it
on the side.
Yes.
So how did you do that?
Actually it came up by itself. Yeah, let's see if we can move it around so that.
Oh yes, it's easy to do that. If you go at the top where you can maximize and minimize your terminal. You can see those.
Oh,
arrows.
okay, I see it.
Yeah.
Those are four logos.
Yes.
Let's do it so that
you can use that. Yeah.
Oh, this one you mean?
Yeah, that one can help also. And there's another way to.
Just pull down right there.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Then move it to the bottom one.
Exactly.
No, I just want to move this one. Yeah, somehow if you just look around, you should be able to. That's so difficult. Okay. All right, I don't need this. I don't need part. Okay, so.
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Feb class, is it a file or a folder?
The Feb class is a folder that I created from here.
Okay.
I went to my regular folder settings in Windows, and I created you could create yours in downloads or anywhere. Once it's already there, then you can come here, file, and you open folder, and you look at that. All right, so we'll create a version control system in GitHub. We've done that. And then you remember your username and password to enter your GitHub account?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we need to go back to, let's just follow the notes. We'll forget. Let's go back to GitHub. So you go to settings, developer settings, and then personal settings. We'll come here to GitHub. And then you come to this GitHub, right? What's the home page? So let's go to settings. So come here. Let's look for settings. Let me click on this.
Settings is either under your what they call profile icon. You yes, and then come down to
settings here. Okay. Then after settings, where do you go? Let's just make sure everything in the note is correct. Then we say settings, developer settings, then personal token. So next you go to developer settings. Let's look for it. You scroll down and you see it. Developer settings. And then you go to Alt Apps, personal token, personal access token. All right. So you take personal access token, and then you see new. I already have one, so let me see what you personal access token. Yeah. Okay, so
I think we should, some of us that want to follow the class, maybe you should just carry us along.
Okay, so what are you doing?
A little bit too fast.
Oh, okay, no problem. So what are you now? Let me go back.
I'm on my Git So I don't know if you created the repository or.
Did you create? No, I didn't create repository. Did you successfully create GitHub accounts?
Yes.
Okay. So can you go to settings here like this? Remember, this is in the note anyway, so you still be able to do it for you. Well, can you come here?
Settings, I'm there.
Okay, so click settings.
Yeah, clicked.
Then scroll down all the way to the bottom, and then you'll find developer settings.
Okay.
Yeah, I will allow you to do this only in this first class, just so that you get things set subsequently.
Yeah.
All right, so personal token.
Okay, okay.
All right. Okay, let's try this. New app token, generate password access token. So yeah, you click find grade token, and then you say generate personal access token. So give the token a name. Any name is okay. Maybe your name. There's a token, a unique name for this token may be visible.
All this is after creating the GitHub account, right, sir? Or
Yes,
is this...
yes. After creating the GitHub account, all of it is from your GitHub account.
Okay.
All right, so how do you know the next thing to do? You'll be here. Can you see this? On the note, so you click settings, personal token, then you give a name. In this case, I gave a class practice. So give a name, it will be class practice or any name like that. Yeah, no need for description. All right. Expiration, my own never expires. Okay, you can put 90 days, and then of course you can every time it expires, you come back. Maybe I should even change mine. Okay, let me change mine. So let me call it class. Right. Well, that's definitely more than 90 days. I can describe it if I want. All right. Then resource owner, theITern, public repository. So I'll leave it at public repository. I'll leave everything else, and then I'll just create. I'll just click generate token. Did you all get that?
Yes.
Oh, so I click generate token, and this token was generated for me. Look at it. So I'm going to copy this token. So it's copied now. So if I go somewhere to try and paste it, Control V, that is the token. All right.
Mr. Akin, sorry, I missed something. The repository access, is it a public or all repositories?
Public.
Public, okay, thank you. Okay, all right. So the token, what do you want us to copy the token?
Do you know what? Can you, instead of the beta means it's still under construction. Do you see classic in your own case?
Yeah, classic tokens.
Yeah, classic means old, the normal, regular one. So click classic, and then click generate new token.
Okay.
It may not appear exactly the same way, but just look for generator. Oh, great. So,
you want us to generate the token from classic now, or we should leave the...
Anyone is okay, actually, but I prefer classic.
You prefer classic? Okay.
So let's do classic. Beta will be changing, but classic is already. Okay, so generate new token.
I think we have to go through
okay,
a couple of processes. Right? Yeah, okay. So
go ahead.
Is there a note? What's this token for? So maybe.
Does it look like this?
Yes.
I don't have picture.
Yes,
select
it
scope,
does.
Yeah, just select, click select scope, and then select as many of those permissions.
Okay.
And then here you have no expiration. The other one was asking us to expire in 90 days. So,
This actually has an expiration too.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just take the maximum expiration.
Yeah.
All right. So once you finish answering all of the questions, click generate token. And something like this should be generated for you.
So we should just choose as many as we can, right?
Yes, of course. You can always edit. But yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
As any permission access as you would have also do. Has anybody successfully generated token?
Yes.
Okay. To copy that token and save in a safe place. In my own case, I have it saved in my manual. This token is your password. It would always ask you for password to be able to connect your local system to your central system. If you don't have it, you'll not be able to connect. Yeah. Anyone else still generating token?
Yeah, the likes of me will generate it after class.
Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, don't worry, just because it's the first time. After this, we'll move fast. Let me see if I need to. I don't really need to. Okay, so I'm done here. Since we are done with token. So let's go back to the main. So my GitHub CLI password stroke token. So I saved it here. In your case, look for where to save it. All right, so I'm done there. Now let's go to my VS Code. So I come back to my VS Code, which I open. Oh no. So there's Visual Studio. It's different from Visual Studio Code. So we're using Visual Studio Code. All right, so now that we're in Visual Studio Code, what's the next thing we should do? Now I want to install Git. It will help us connect our local repo. It will help us create our local repo and then help us connect our local repo to our remote repo. All right, like you know, to install any service, any package, the first thing you want to do is let me see if I can run this something.
Update.
Yeah, I'll do. Okay, so what am I? Let me see. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. I can have both of them, I can copy them. Yeah. Okay, so I just do Control C, Control V. Everything. Okay, so I'm ready now. Control C, Control V. Control C, Control V, correct. What's my password?
So Mr. Akin, this one we don't necessarily have to do it from roots, right?
I'm not doing from root.
Yeah.
Because this is your own local system. Everything is yours here. So
okay.
Yeah, you don't need any kind of special for it.
Like what you copied was sudo app update.
Yes.
Okay.
Sudo apt update.
I use root and root didn't go through.
Actually, it should go through, but yeah, you can. You know, when you set up your Ubuntu or your local system, did he ask you to set up a default user? Like it did for me.
Just be sure you are using Ubuntu anyway.
Yeah.
You've been to, were you not in the infrastructure class?
I was there. I'm using Ubuntu.
Yeah. Just continue from where you stopped at the infrastructure. So root will actually work, but let's focus so that we are not jumping from one to another. Let me exit. All right, so the next thing I want to do is Control C for young upgrade, and then that. It's not all the time that there are things to upgrade, but in this case, I think it has stuff to upgrade. All right, so it's upgrading, and now we're ready to install JIT. But before we install JIT, the thing actually is that Ubuntu already comes with JIT installed. But if it was a Red Hat or any other, then you need to do sudo yum install JIT.
Mr. K.
Yeah.
If I create my class 4, say in my document, and then I actually want that folder to be in a different location on my Windows, does it matter if I move the folder on my local system to where I want it to be?
Create a new one. You don't have anything inside. Just create a new folder. Yeah.
So how do I delete the class 4 that is showing on my VS Code?
Okay, you're already connected to the other. Okay. Let me show you.
Yeah.
So to connect to the new folder that you created.
Yes.
Files.
Yeah, go to File. Give me 1 second.
File.
Yeah, go to File. Okay, first of all, close this current one. You can close this folder. Where is the close folder? Yeah.
Oh, I see. Close folder.
Yeah.
Okay, that solves the problem, actually. That deletes it. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so if JIT was not already installed, the command will be sudo apt, then what? Install JIT -y. Yeah, can I just go ahead and do it? You just tell me it's already installed. All right. And then if I now do ls -la, sudo apt install JIT -1. What's the problem? What did I do? The following package is automatically installed and are no longer required. Zero
The first one was sudo apt install, and then you did sudo apt update grep y, right?
Yes, that one is right here. So sudo apt update,
upgrade,
sudo apt upgrade. JIT -. version. What's going on? Okay. Okay, so JIT is already installed.
So you don't need to install Git again?
Yes, I don't need to, but even then, it should still give me error, even if I install it. So I'm going to say JIT, sudo apt install JIT. So JIT is already okay. So that's why it's not installed, because it's telling me JIT is already installed. Okay, I didn't see this before. All right. So JIT is already installed.
Okay.
So just note that Ubuntu already comes pre-installed with JIT. And the note already has it anyway. always check if Git. But if Git was not installed, this would have been the command. But you never need it for Ubuntu. You may need it for Linux, the other. All right, are we all on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so now that we have this powerful Git already installed, then let's start to use it. So the thing, what did I? The thing we want to do now is let us. The first thing we want to do. Let me just follow sequentially, because if I walk from my head, I may omit something. So let us clone the repository so that you have something in your own currently empty repository. Do I have DevOps Basic? Let me check what I have in my repository. So I come back to my repo and I do home. Yes, I have this. I need you to clone this particular repository. So I come here. Oh, by the way, you know what we mean by repository. So the repository is the directory that we create in the central storage to save our codes. So for example, there is this small project called DevOps Basic, just a small class project, all right? And then if I open it, I will see the codes that my developers have written and pushed to the remote repo here so that I, as a DevOps person, can pick it and build it and then deploy it to operations. So this is it setup. It's a Java code. How do I know it's a Java code? Look at the sign here. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was written in the Java language. All right. So in your own case, you are going to, can you see this place now? Code. I'll come here and I'll say, I'll leave it at HTTPS. I'll copy the URL of this code. I'll copy it. Right? I've copied it. Now, you're also going to do the same. You go back to your VS Code and simply say git clone. And then you right click to paste that URL. What does this mean? It means pull that code, the entire repository, all the codes inside, pull everything from the remote repo into my working directory here. That's the meaning. But because it's the first time, I'm not going to say pull. Because it's the first time, I'm going to say clone. Then subsequently, after I have the original, I can now say pull. So first time pulling will be clone. You know the meaning of clone? That is make a replica. Right? So you don't have this URL. Where can I paste it for you? So before I paste it, let me press enter. Look at it, it's cloning. I've made a copy of that remote repository into my working directory. So if I do ls minus la now, I'm going to see that DevOps basis is now inside my local machine. So if I say change directory to DevOps basics, and I do ls minus l, look at the same content that are right here. Okay, so it has cloned into my. All right, so
I think you can put it in the chat.
Okay, let me try that. So just
and then maybe the WhatsApp chat as well. Thanks.
Yeah, you have the full note, so no need for the one. Just for this.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So git clone, then Control V. That is all you copy and paste. Did it work?
Please, who is having the issue copying?
Yeah, copying
I
from
am.
the
It's
chat.
not.
Can you post it in WhatsApp?
No,
okay.
no.
Copy, yeah, right?
Yeah,
Copy
Yeah,
copying
that
please
from
was,
the
share
chat.
it with. Oh, yeah, because we can't copy it from the chat.
yeah, me too. I used to have that. I thought it was just me. Okay, let me see. This is general thing. Let me see. Let me share.
Put the link and copy it in the browser, guys.
Huh?
That's
Did it
also
work for you?
another option.
Yes.
That's another way.
What link?
Why can't we copy from this chat?
Because Zoom does not allow you.
Okay.
Yeah. So what method did you use? The person contribute.
I opened the link in the browser.
Oh,
and then I
okay.
just
You clicked it
from the-
directly. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I put .git at the end. That's the only thing you have to add.
Yeah, I
Okay.
noticed that the GIT goes away.
Oh, can I see your
So,
VS
Mr. King,
terminal? Sorry. Can
Me?
you
Okay.
put the git clone again in your terminal? Is there a space between the clone and the HTTPS?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. King, please, can you enter so I see what comes after that, just to be sure I'm
I
getting it.
already entered, so it's
Oh,
going to
okay.
see. Yeah. Okay, here.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay,
Awesome.
yeah, same. Yeah, all right.
Okay. So now you have a clone. Everybody good? All right. Now let us start to learn JIT commands. We need to learn like a couple of commands to be so that we have complete control over JIT, and we're not able to use JIT, send JIT to do whatever we need to do by using JIT command. All right. So the first you want to try is JIT. What repository are you currently connected to? So the command to do that is git remote -d. So this is asking Git the question, what remote repository am I connected to? Is this system connected to? And it's saying right now you are connected to this remote. Yeah, that's fine. It will fetch from this repository and it will push from this repository. Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that. All right. Now, another command is git config --list. Let's see that command. Git config -list.
Git
So what does this
remote
say?
-g did not work for me.
Git remote -v. Try it again. Oh, okay. You are not connected to any repository in your own case.
Yeah,
Yeah,
CD to DevOps basics.
oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. So the next command is this: git config -- list. You try that command. Let's see. In my own case, it's telling me the user that is running this account is the ITern, and the email address of the user that is running this account is the theITern.usa@gmail.com. What's yours telling me?
Mine is just telling me the core repository format version.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the same thing here.
Okay.
Same here.
Which means your own local repository is not connected to your remote repository. They are two separate machines. Now, to connect them so that there's a link between them and you can push, pull, and communicate, the command is this. So you can see. So the command is git config -- global user dot. Normally, I'll just copy and paste. All right. So Control-C and then Control-V. But in your own case, you are going to say, so git config -- global. What is your own username? The username of your GitHub account. When you
Okay.
created it.
So you mean instead of the user.name, we should put, or we should?
No. Just put your own username here.
Okay.
After the username.
After this user.name. All right. Okay.
Okay. So git config -- global user.name, then username.
Yeah, it doesn't really produce anything. Do I go back to run git
Hold
config
on, just hold on, wait for us.
Okay. So.
Hold on there. All right, so did you all get this? I mean,
I got you now. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let me just complete mine so that we'll be on the same page. Mine is theITern. All right, so it did not do any, it did not, no error, it just worked on the next line. So the next thing you enter now is the email address. So Control-C and then Control-V. So it will be git config -- global user.email. Then you enter the email address you registered. The email address that you used to create your GitHub account. In my own case, it's the theITern.usa.
Okay.
So for this GitHub account, is there a way you can change the username?
There, username I doubt. You may change password and stuff, but username, maybe you can just look around.
Okay.
You're not happy with your current username, right?
Oh no, I already have an account. I have it. I'm just asking just in case one forgets, Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not so sure about it. So you press enter. All right. So now that you have entered these two parameters, check now to see, run this command again. I hope you know you can do that by just pressing your up arrow key until you get to that command.
Yeah, it's good we are doing Linux again.
Yeah, this is where you really need
it. Showing my username and email now, and then core repository.
Correct. So you are now connected. You are now linked to your GitHub account. So everything you are doing here now, you can now push. All right. So far, so good. Any other person?
Mr. King, this Git account connected to will be our own local repo.
Yes, your local repo will not be on your system. I'll show you where. In fact, I can show you now. But everybody on the same page now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So if we now do ls -la, we are going to see the .git. So if you say, maybe it is not the right one. So your local repository is inside here. But don't worry about it. There's a later part where we'll really go into it. The local repository is inside it. ls minus l, ls minus la. Okay. So what's the next command we want to look at?
Did you change directory to somewhere just now?
Sorry? Did I change the directory?
It looks like you
Yeah, when you
changed directory.
see the dot
You
dot
can. That was not part of the. I'm just using my Linux command to arrange my stuff. It wasn't part of what you should do. I mean, it wasn't part of that I should execute. Hello?
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah, I was just moving around my own system. You can move around your system too.
Sure.
You can CD forward, CD backward. It's not part of it. Unless you don't know Linux enough, that's where the problem will be. I can always look around and see where am I. Oh, I'm here. Okay, CD, DevOps.
Went out of the DevOps basics to your
Yeah, I moved one step backward before.
Okay.
Yeah, but let's take the next command. So push an existing repository to your remote repository. That's what we want to do now. We want to push our local repo to ensure that ensure that you are working not from the directory of the clone repo, but from the cloned directory. Ensure that you are working not from the directory of the cloned repo, from the it's confused.
But from the clone directory.
Be the other way around. You work from your local repo, right?
See the clone directory. Okay, don't worry. Let's do it and then I'll copy that. I'll copy hyphen. Okay, so let us modify this code, for example, because if we are pushing it back to where we copied it from, then we have not done anything. Let us modify this code locally. So for example, what can we do? Let us introduce a new file. Anything we do to the code, whether we edit this file or we introduce a new file, we are editing the code. Let us say we are doing introducing a new file. Let's do vi new file text or something. All right. And then we'll just put in there, this is only to show that the introduction of a new file means that we have modified the code. All right, so Control S and escape. All right, so if we do ls minus L now, we have a new file. Where's the file? Yeah. So by the introduction of this new file, we have changed the code. Now let us move what we have in the repository is different. We don't have that file here. So let us push this new file to the repository. All right. How do you now update the content of the remote rep with your own local repo? Okay, so this is how to do it. Pushing is 3 steps. Yeah, it's not one step. It's not a single step. So to push, the first thing I need to do is I'll say git add. So I'm going to use this command git add. Git add, if I do git add dot, it means add all files. But if I say git add a particular file, then it means all files are okay, but this is the file that has changed. Add only this file. So let me try git add. Which file has changed here?
New file text.
Yes.
New file.
So let's say new file. All right. You know what? It's too early to introduce complex problem. Let's know the basics first. Let me remove this file. It may not work. And then let me instead edit an existing file. Which file can I edit? Let me edit readme. ls minus vi. In fact, okay, let's make it simple. Let me edit readme. Nano read me. All right, so this is it. Let me just add something. All right, so I'm done. No. Keep pressing colon. This is nano control X. Save modified.
I need to go back to revise my Linux.
Well, we're shouting Linux. So you thought we were joking, huh? Yeah.
It's just that I have to think more before I do it. The speed is not there, so it needs some revision.
Well, this will also serve as revision. So nano readme,
Yeah.
part readme. Okay, I didn't successfully modify. Let me just add something there. Let me go more. I'm actually more used to VI. So let me just do the one I'm missing. That's why I keep pressing. I'm old school, so all right, so we have modified the file. Now, let us append this modification to the central record. So the commands to do that are one, git add dot. It means everything that changed, or if you want, let's just use dot, then press enter. You've added another git repository. What am I? Inside your current repository. Okay, cd dot dot. That's exactly what we meant. If I
Git add dot.
Already added.
Hmm?
We don't have any.
Not a Git registry or any part of it. Stopping a file system boundary.
Because the Feb class is on your local system.
That's fine. So
go to DevOps
basics.
Okay, don't worry. Let's cd. What do we have here? cd DevOps basic ls minus l.
So this was where we dictated the README file.
Yes, we should have been here. Let's take one step back. And then do git add. Then we have to do another file. Git cd git add readme. Okay, so that worked.
Yeah, this one we have
readme to repository now.
Give me 1 second. So this add readme, then what's that command now? This add readme, what's the git status? Yes. Okay. Now, what happened there is Let me explain this. This is why when somebody asks that question, I deliberately avoid it so that I can come. Now, there are 3 areas within our local repo right now, within our laptop. So there is the working directory, all right? There is the remote directory, and in between them, there is something called staging. No, sorry. Can you see this diagram? There's the working directory, there is the local repo, and in between them, there is something called staging. So these are the 3 areas. So right now, when we are working right here, everything we are seeing here, this is not the local repository. The local repository is somewhere else, hidden from view. This is only our working directory. This is our working directory. So whatever we do in the working directory, if it is not saved to our repository, we lose it. The repository is not aware of it. So when we work on our working directory, like what we just did now, we add file, we remove file, or anything, we must do git add to move that file from our working directory into some staging area, some temporary place. So we just say, you know what, I'm coming, keep this file first. So git add does that. Now that we have our git add in a temporary place, let us move it from, now that we have our modified file using git add in a temporary place, let us move it from there now to our local repository. The command to do that is git commit. Git commit. So if we come back here, I will now say git commit. Which file do you want to commit? README.
README.
All right. So if we press enter there, and then we just say, don't worry about it, just exit. Okay. And then we'll do ls minus la. No, sorry, git status. Git status. No, that did not work. Git commit. No. So this it did not work. So for git commit must come in this format. Git commit minus m, then comment. So what comment? Let's just say first commit. So git commit, then minus m, then inside your quote times you put a comment there. Comment like, why are you doing this? All right. So this is the format. If you press enter now, git commit minus m first commit. So what have we done? We are saying everything, all of the files that we have staged in the temporary place, move them now from there to our local repo. So it is only now that we have completed the movement or the transfer of file from our working directory to our local repo. So if we go back here now and say git status, we are going to see that there is nothing to commit. The 2 files that we had there to commit before, they are no longer there. Yeah, I know. It's just the first time you're hearing it. We'll do it again all over. But for now, let's just so git add is the command that will move our file from working directory to a staging area. Staging area means I am coming, keep it first. Give me 1 second to come and pick it. Just hold it for me. And then git commit, you would use that command to move from that staging area to your local repository. So the changes that we made when we edited that file has now been pushed to our local repository. Everything, all of these 3 is happening within our system. We have nothing to do with the remote repository yet. Now, finally, the third command. The third command is the one. There are 3 commands. 1, 2, 3. It is this third command that will now move our change from our local repository to our remote repository. The git push. All right. We are going to come here and we are going to do git push origin master. All right. And then it's going to ask you for your username. For my account, the username is theITern. theITern. And then my password. Remember the code that you copied earlier on? That is always your password. The token.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So you take your token, Control C, and then you provide it here. Every time you are dealing with the remote repo, it will ask you. You right click, and then you press enter. Now it has been pushed. All of the changes that you made on your local system have now been pushed to your local remote repo. If you go to your remote repo now and you refresh, you are going to see that only 3 minutes ago, something happened. And only 3 minutes ago, something happened. So your changes have been pushed from your local repo. Yeah. And if you click this to check what is inside, you are going to see that before it had only DevOps project. But look at the content that you added. It's now reflecting on the central repo for the whole team of 15 developers to use. It's available centrally. It has contributed to. Yes, questions? Don't worry, we'll do it over and over. You'll get used to it. But for now, just to get the idea that when you are working on your local machine, you are working, when you are working here, right here, whatever we are doing here is on the working directory. The local repository is not the same as the working directory. The local repository is inside the directory called .d. However, when we work on the working directory and we are ready to reflect our changes in the repository, then we use git add to we enter three commands, 3 sets of commands. The first command is git add, second command is git commit, and third command is git push. These are the 3 sets of commands. These are the 3 commands that make a set to help us push from our local to our remote repository.
Okay, Mr. Akin.
Yeah.
So in a case where I have worked on let's say file, and then I actually added it to the staging area. Maybe later I realized there's an issue with that. I want to correct that. How do I pull it from?
Yeah, we're going to, there are so many commands.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the many commands that we are going to learn later on. You mistakenly committed the file. You don't want to push it anymore. We'll learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so this git by itself is we had a training in the previous class who said all it does is just use git commands. And then he was so, wow, so these are the commands. Now I'm getting it for the first time. I just do it, but I didn't know what I was doing. And they are contracted to Microsoft. So, yes. So I'm saying that just learning, depending on the kind of work you get, your work scope might just be dealing with git command. That just. There are a few more commands that we will learn to help you really master it. There are many more commands. All right, so we'll keep learning git. And then once we are done with git, we'll move to the next tool. All right, questions? Okay, so we'll explain that next time. And then once you grab that, we'll continue to. And then another question would be, what if I want to disconnect from my existing repositories so that I can connect to a new repository? Yeah, we'll talk about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
right now we don't need to destroy anything, right? Because nothing is getting charged.
No, you are not in cloud. You are not well, you are not in the regular AWS cloud. No, nothing is getting charged. Right?
Okay.
Your VS Code is on your local system. They will not charge you for that. And then the GitHub account you just created it.
Okay.
All right, so you've learned enough for one day being the start, the beginning of the program. You can just revise and make contributions. And then next time we'll continue with learning.
Okay. Tuesdays, Thursdays.
Yes, Tuesday start.
Okay.
Do we get this manual?
Yes. So please do me a message as soon as we are done with class. Because I'm having a feeling that not everyone here has to. Once I trace you by your message to see that you have created out.
All right.
Okay.
Yes. No, I'm not dismissing you. It's just that we're not learning anything new. So any more contributions?
This is a good place to stop.
Yeah, it is. I feel like I have a lot to download already.
Yeah.
I feel saturated already.
You hold him responsible now. He was saying, what are you talking theory? Let's go to practical streets. So we started the practical.
Manuel, see?
It is well.
I told you you have so you have so many projects you'll be seeing Mr. Akin, please. Can we do the other one tomorrow?
Yeah. Honestly,
so Mr. Akin, when do we start talking about the resume?
I think.
By the end of this module, and then we'll continue into the next module, talking about resume. But towards the end of this module, you'd have covered like 12 or so of the total projects. So that'll be a good time to start talking about it.
Great. Okay.
End of this model, you mean DevOps1, right?
Yes, DevOps1. And then by the end of DevOps, you would have known enough to start looking for jobs. And then DevOps2 will just be continuation.
Yeah, Mr. Akin, I'm sure you advise that after DevOps1, even if you're applying for jobs, it should be solution architect, not DevOps.
No, the role does not matter. Whatever they call it doesn't matter. Just look at the job description. As long as it covers 70% of what you have been to. So they can call the title any of 12 different names. From solutions architect to DevOps engineer to QA engineer to cloud engineer. Yeah, can come in all of this. Some of them don't even know what they're looking. Yeah.
You're sure they don't expect you to have some sort of engineering background, right?
No. The tools that make you the engineer they are referring to. That's what we are learning, all of these tools.
Okay.
So the JIT is engineering. We are doing JIT engineering now. Set up remote and local repo with JIT and GitHub. You've done that now. We just done that in one day. So these are the tools that make you engineer. However, if you may want to write a certification, AWS Solutions Architect Associate level, to bridge that gap between, yeah, I know. So how come you are applying for IT role? Certification will help you.
Mr. Akin, since you brought that up, I already have my date fixed for 1st March. So please, if you have any resource you want to share.
Your date for what?
The associate exam, solution architect.
To write the exam. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Femi will be the expert there.
Okay.
Yeah, asking for
AWS, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm juggling so much a lot together.
Much first.
Yeah. You're
Mr.
already
King,
practicing some dumps, right? Yeah.
Mr. King, apart from the AWS associate developer, is there a DevOps associate exam out there
There's DevOps professional exam out there.
that is not AWS?
That is not AWS. Yeah,
Yeah,
there
I
are
think
other DevOps.
there's one institute also in charge of DevOps. I see. I think DevOps something, university or DevOps or something like that.
No, I
think
mean
No.
it's certification.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just the name. They don't own anything DevOps. DevOps is the research.
yeah,
Certification. The popular one will
certification.
be from the providers. The popular ones will be
Okay, we the
from
provider.
AWS, from Azure,
Okay.
especially those two.
Yeah, Emmanuel, how much did you for the AWS? How much was it? Was it 150 or?
Associate is 150, yeah.
It's
But I
150.
learned once you
Developer
pass,
is 150.
you'll get 50% discount for subsequent
Oh,
certifications.
okay.
Yeah,
Under which
AWS.
no, I mean, okay, no, I get it. Okay,
AWS.
March 1st.
So yes, the DevOps people are the cloud. Those two especially. Any other person is secondary. They are just the middle.
Yeah.
So AWS is the market leader. 30, almost 35% of the market. And then Azure is coming up very strongly behind at over 20.
Hey, Mr. King, are we going to be entitled to the Azure training as well?
Oh, did you say are we? I think
It's
that
in the
was
chat now. He said yes.
Exactly.
No. I didn't promise you Azure.
oh,
In the
Mr.
chat,
Akin,
As at the time you
the
joined
chat.
training, I didn't even have a job. Even now, I'm still not ready with Azure. I'm still developing myself.
Oh,
couldn't
but
have
the flyer you sent, their job
Yeah, the
facilitator
last
is
chat
somebody
you
else,
sent.
not you. So you don't have to be the one.
Sorry. You said
The flyer you had sent us had a different trainer for Azure, so you don't have to be the one.
yeah. Different trainer means different money. Trainers are paid.
Mr. Akin, you know the records. It's right there in WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Let me go pull it out and read to you what you said. If you,
Which one?
I think it was more of if we go up until DevOps 2, we might have some sort of bonus.
We
training.
might,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yes.
That might.
Somebody said
consider
anytime
it.
you are talking to a woman, just know that this message shall be recorded for future purposes. So be very careful. Just know we have women amongst us.
Yeah, but once you are done with all of this training, Azure can be covered in actually less than 2 hours.
I
Don't believe
so.
it.
Yeah.
It would be nice if you introduce us to Azure. I got excited when you.
It just depends on my mood. If you
Your mood?
contribute and you are, yeah. So I don't really want to promise.
We'll make your mood better.
But if you really understand everything we are doing, because this is like the real engineering. Azure is just like a
platform.
painting and finishing.
Click.
So this is the real thing. Once you can understand this, yes.
So, Mr. Akin, please, I want to take you back. Why am I having permission error?
Where?
I want to be sure. So the next class, I don't have that same issue.
So where are you having permission?
Push origin master.
Oh, okay. Push origin master. Did you copy and paste your password?
Yes. So
did you right click only once and you not see it?
Yes.
Just once?
Only once, yes.
Yes.
It won't show. So it gives me remote permission to the DevOps DevOps basic denied to my username.
Yeah. So check your username and password and check your token again. Make sure you copy it directly without space.
Can I recreate the token?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, just repeat this whole process. Maybe by the third time you get lost. Or usually the mistake will be that you expected the token to show, it did not show, so you double click on.
No, I didn't do that. I was sure not to do that.
Okay. Yeah, try it again, and then if you see how it is.
Yeah, Bola, the AWS exams is at the Pearson View Center. I think this year they stopped people from writing it remotely or so.
Oh, they stopped
Oh,
remote.
really?
Yeah,
wrote-
I think you have to,
I think I saw some. I saw that was why I asked.
yeah, you have
that,
to
they
go
stopped
to,
it. Yeah,
that was overdue.
that was
When-
they stopped it in
Oh.
December, I think.
No, I wrote remotely last week.
Oh,
only,
last
only
week?
last week. Okay.
Yeah, for DevOps.
oh, okay.
So,
Wow.
But you
then
had
does
to, it was protracted,
You
right?
wrote remotely
Yeah,
for
it's a
DevOps.
protracted.
Yeah, so that one you have to set up a camera on you for them to monitor you.
Of course, now it's always like
Yeah.
that. There's no
Yeah, it's
exam
always
without
like
camera.
that. PMP was like that. So
Wait a minute. Did you say you wrote DevOps?
Yes, sir.
What certification did you write on DevOps?
AWS Associate Developer.
okay, now I'm
Cool.
confused.
Maybe he's from a
Developer?
developer, he's a developer, maybe. So,
Developer is different from DevOps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm hoping to get a remote test done for AWS, and now I hear it has to be a viewing center.
Oh, once you visit their website, you'll get all those details.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I was fortunate to get a center a few minutes from my place. So I just decided to go there and get it done.
But you can check though the options because when
Yeah.
I
And I think it also depends on the state, right? Locations. Maybe that might be.
Yeah, but Pearsonville mostly, you know, they are private centers that are affiliated to them. So once it's actually part of their centers, I think they are almost everywhere. I believe every county should have or district should have one. So
I think the push I need is to get a date first. Maybe when I get a date, I'll be a lot more. But we were advised once we start this, we shouldn't. We should just focus on the DevOps, right, and then think of others afterwards.
yeah, I mean, for some of
Even the
us,
DevOps, you don't have enough time now. It's not just 2 months program. You need after the 2 months class, you need another 2 months to really practice everything. You're moving so fast.
Yeah.
So I don't see you
So-
being able to combine anything.
Yeah. Okay.
it's not going to be an easy one. We'll see.
Yeah. Emmanuel, how are you able to be so ready for the solutions architect? I've never had enough time to.
No, but I think one thing
Discuss
that
it.
would help too are past questions.
Yeah, and even the practice we've done, I don't see with what I'm checking online, I don't see so much difference with the practicals we've been doing. It's just you just need a bit of services. You know, there are some other services related to data analytics. What do you call it? There are other services we didn't really touch on, you know,
Yeah.
because probably they were not really important. But those ones are also included in the exam. So you just need to check on that. I mean, yeah. But once you have the foundation with what we've done from AWS and then IAC, I think it makes it easier for you to understand, most of the topics. So
That's correct.
you can leverage on that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? It's for me to fail and write again. Simple.
Yeah, but we push to write once and
I
for all,
got
and
you,
not
you
go
know.
back. Yeah.
I wrote my solution 2 times. The first time I failed with just 2 marks. I was
Yeah, I have a friend too who had the same scenario. He said he had 710 instead of 720 or so. Yeah. But I
And
mean,
you know the annoying thing, I don't know if it's the same. They tend to have 20 to 25 dummy questions that are not actual questions.
yeah.
I don't know if it's the
with
same, like, because
PMP,
PMP did that.
that's what they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like, so I hope it's not the same with AWS because.
Well, it's possible because AWS they say 65 questions, but if you do the analysis,
AWS, all questions have answers. No dummy questions.
Okay.
No, they all
No,
have
it's-
answers, sir,
it's
but they
not a
just
dummy
said 25 questions are not actual, they're like test questions to know
So
if.
what is it? What it means is normally they want to introduce new set of questions. It could be like just 5
Yes.
questions. So they introduce them into exams and look at what majority of the people are picking for that
Perform,
particular answer.
yeah.
And then as a team or whatever, they settle on those answers and then later push them
For the
into
next ones.
yeah. So that's what they do.
That's what
So out of the 65 questions, it could be like, oh, the 5 are actually for, trials. They just want to see what people are thinking about those questions, and then later they introduce them.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
thank you.
So far so good. So the videos will be, the video will be up in 3 hours thereabout, and then of course the notes will follow immediately.
Please. Okay, sir.
So we'll see you on Tuesday next week.
All right, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much.
everyone.
Good night,
Yeah.
everyone.
Good
Good night.
night.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mm.